It's the Score North Twin Show.
Score North Twin Show, Extra Innings, Declan Goff, and the Sports Dad here with you to break down an Extra Innings episode. There's Sports Dad.
Hey.
I think he's fed up with a lot of things, actually, that transpired, specifically even something that took place, obviously, off the field. We will get to the lengthy review. I can guarantee this won't be a lengthy episode, but we did have a very interesting situation that happened there in the 7th inning with Pablo Lopez that we'll get to. This is Score North Twin Show. Hit the like button and the subscribe button for Minnesota Twins content. Twins settle for a split today, Sports Dad, with the Twins getting a win on the bookends of this series. I thought Pablo looked mostly sharp. I know he made it a little more interesting there in the 7th inning, which then led to this weird, wacky review. But I thought Pablo looked pretty sharp, even dialed up the velocity, was hitting 98 on the gun today, which is damn impressive when you're this late into the season. The Guardians are off today, so the Twins really needed a big win to kind of at least maintain a half-game pace. They have a big weekend series against the Kansas City Royals. We'll also see what happened with Carlos Santana at the end of that game. That's cause for concern. If there is something there with the potential Gold Glove winning first baseman for the Twins. But your overall thoughts, Sports Dad, on the series finale win for the Twins today in Tampa?
Well, Pablo continues to be, in the second half or post All-Star break, continues to be fabulous. I mean, he was a little bit shaky for a brief time today, but ultimately he was able to limit the damage enough. He's been a godsend. Like for a guy who I think we rightfully were a bit concerned about for the first few months, he's been great and pitched deep into this game. Clearly wanted to get the last out of the 7th. I do have some thoughts on that, but it is that's a nice win. And look, I mean, it's one thing to get frustrated when the Twins do dumb things, but I mean, today's game, correct me if I'm wrong, was pretty well played by them. I didn't see like egregious, mistakes in the field, on the base paths. Tampa's weird because they're really not that good, but they're always plucky. Mm-hmm. So like it would be nice to get 3 of 4, but there are other teams that if you didn't get 3 for 4 from, especially on the road, I'd probably be far more frustrated. And now, as you said, Sports Son, you go to KC and it's huge. This is what you play for as the sports cliches go. So, last night was disturbing just because it was just a brutal loss in some ways, but for a team that has definitely been struggling, Pablo again, I think comes up huge. And my confidence in Pablo now is probably almost where it was last year at his best, because he did struggle at times early last year. Mm-hmm. But, I am extremely confident now that you are going to, if nothing else, get a solid outing deep into a game. And in 2024 from a starting pitcher, you'll take that. So
who starts game one? I've kind of been leading the Bailey Ober game one parade. If the playoffs started, that Bailey Ober's been mostly consistent. Sure. It's weird. He's got about Bailey Ober. This has 3 starts that are just absolutely god awful, and about 85% of his other starts are as good as you can possibly be as a starting pitcher. So there is some blow up possibility to Bailey Ober's game, mostly early. But I will say that if the playoffs started tomorrow or, in a clean slate, I think Pablo gets game one. And I know that was still most likely the case, even when Pablo was struggling and without some Bailey blow-ups. I think your Vegas betting line still had minus money, most likely on Pablo Lopez. Mm-hmm. But from what we've seen here down the stretch, they're going to want their best guy in game one. And, if they get Baltimore, they're going to get Corbin Burnes, who's damn good. Weirdly enough, and these are famous last words, but they actually match up pretty well against the Yankees, especially assuming Garrett Cole is indeed out for the year or is not going to be eligible to play in the first round of the playoff. I like a game one win against the Yankees more than I do against Baltimore, which I know is hilarious to say from a Twins fan's perspective. But regardless, I think Pablo has put himself back into this situation where he looked good. He's dialing up velocity. Usually this time of year, people tend to dip in velocity, and he's only gotten stronger. I've detailed some of the things I've talked to him about with his breathing exercises, and he does all this preparation that go even above and beyond what the normal pitcher does these days. And I think that work ethic, I mean, he is the ace of the staff too. So it would be no surprise if Pablo Lopez starts game one. He's likely going to start game one, but I think he's definitely edged out that competition. Like I pending an injury, I don't see any situation where Pablo Lopez doesn't start game one of a playoff game.
Yeah, and I agreed with your assessment at the time that Bailey was pitching so well, he deserved the game one start. I always said I don't think he'll get it, and now I know that if this continues, he won't, and that's fine. The first round, you've got to win 2 of 3, and I mean, there's a whole conversation to be had about who might come back, who might not come back. Like the Twins, could they win 2 of 3 in a first round? Yes. Could they make a deep playoff run with the current roster and Correa out? I don't think so. Like the kids, like Brooks Lee, God bless him, but you put him in Yankee Stadium in a playoff environment, that's asking a lot to be, hey, go start at shortstop. No, he might be fine. I don't know. But my point is my expectations go way down if guys continue, if Buxton's out. Like, I mean, and with the hip now, he might be. That play today in center field that the new kid almost made. Kiersay. Yeah. He almost made that play, but I mean, Buxton catches that ball, and that's like a playoff game catch, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm with you on the pitching. I also saw on the Valley Sports North telecast, because praise the Lord, I've got it back now, and it's been great. I also saw the statistics of Duran when he is closing and non-save, and oh my God, that is that. But I mean, and I've had this debate with baseball folks before, because I've always said there's just something about closers where they've got that mentality, and this goes back. I mean, it goes way back. But I mean, Joe Nathan was this guy. Mm-hmm. You put him in a non-save tie game, that dude would melt down. You give him a 1-run lead, and it's like he is Cy Young. So. Boy, there's certainly a case to be made that this whole thing of it's a tie game, we're going to bring in Duran to pump strikes. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. But today, he was great. Griffin Jacks threw 1 pitch to get out of the 7th, and they brought him back. It was a miracle. But yeah, I did like we could certainly talk about the decision to take out Pablo. I liked how the bullpen was used. And I liked and I'm hoping that, if let's just say Jacks had thrown 10 pitches, in my mind, I'm hoping he would have come back from the lesson learned against, I think it was the Padres.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about some of the things that happened today in the extra innings game. We might have another episode, most likely with Mackey tomorrow. But Edward Julian gives them the big swing, the 3-run home run swing. That's actually the only form of offense really the Twins were able to get in a clutch situation. It was their only hit with a runner in scoring position. So Edward Julian ends up coming big up there with a 3-run blast, who I believe hit his first home run since April. I think that was the stat they said on the Bowie's broadcast.
It was.
Our friend in Art Span called Pete Mackey Phil Mackey.
So
yes, I know D-Span and our guy Phil. They go way back. Confuse the names there. That's okay. I love me some D-Span, so I was all for it. And if Phil's has this side job as a pitching coach, then I would like some more access in the Twins clubhouse if that's the case. But
I'd like to see him improve, though. Like, I mean, the starters, get those kids straightened out consistently, man. Come on, Phil.
So also in that game, as Judd just mentioned, there was this weird situation where Matt Wallner fields a screaming liner down the right field line. He's running full speed, and people sleep on Matt Wallner's speed. He is faster than he appears.
He's athletic as hell.
Yes.
He's a really good athlete.
He's a big dude, but that guy, big tree fall hard, that guy runs pretty dang fast, and we saw him literally tumble out of bounds in a stadium, that is, to try to catch that ball. And then there was, and Probus was probably right, the longest review I can remember in the replay era.
Ridiculous.
About 11, 12 minutes to try to determine with Wallner falling out of bounds, out of the field of play, I probably should use that word, out of the field of play, does the runner stay at third base, or does he have to go back to second with it being a ground rule? It ends up being a 12-minute dang delay. Pablo is just sitting there waiting. Everyone's sitting there waiting. They end up having to take Pablo out. I'm sure he was a little perturbed by that. Now they do turn to their probably best reliever in Griffin Jacks. 1 pitch, 1 out. Sayonara puts a merciful end to that damn inning. But it was just a weird situation because the game's going back and forth, and now there's a 12-minute pause. I'm for replaying baseball, all for replaying baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but that situation, we got to be quicker. We got to be much more
minutes.
heads up on that.
10 minutes, I think they timed, and then there was a pitching change. So first of all, I agree completely. I was on my couch saying it's a double. He took the ball out of play.
Yeah.
It's not as if, like, you could see when they weren't synced up, you could see that he was just about to touch first when Wallner takes the ball and goes ass over tea kettle. Okay. So what are we waiting that long for? Now, if that's a playoff game or something, maybe. But I mean, I'm on my couch like, that's a double. It's a double. He did not get to third. He was not around first base to be granted third base. So it was a complete waste of time. It was stupid. It was, in my opinion, an abuse of a system that I like. Like, if that's one of those ones where after 3 minutes, if you're like, I'm not sure, it might be a trouble, it's just a double, okay? I don't think the Rays were going to bitch about it. It wasn't like they were going to send him back to first base. So that was stupid and should never happen. The other thing that they need to clean up, though, is we cannot have, so that dude was going to be on second or third, okay? Rocco has to come out there when the replay review is going. And the fact that he then waited, like, it wasn't like it was going to be nobody on or somebody on, right? So it didn't change the dynamic. The dynamic wasn't going to change. If the dude had been on third base, Pablo still comes out. So the whole thing was a gong show. The whole thing was a waste of time. And quite frankly, it's one of those baseball things, Declan, that you're watching this and you're like, this is so stupid. Like, this is such a stupid thing. And we're trying to determine something that some guy in Minnesota. Well, no, me on my couch with Stella. And we're both like, ground rule double. That's very simple. and then Rocco comes out. And I'm like, he's going to make a pitching change. And then he and Pablo, I don't know what was said, but Pablo's trying to beg him to stay in. And he's done that on occasion, but clearly they weren't going to. So, yeah, that to me was, I mean, that has nothing to do with the win. So it's fine. But that was a maddening baseball-y type of thing that I feel like for the most part we've cleaned up. I just don't understand why it took that long to place a runner.
Yeah, very, very weird. They end up going with, obviously, Griffin Jacks, who goes back out there for, I believe, just the second or third time this year. He had multiple innings.
He had one pitch, though, right?
One pitch, but still.
Yeah, no, I know. I joked about it on Twitter.
You tweeted out, Tung, is he even going to come back out?
Yeah.
Because it's a valid question. So Jax gets a hold, his 23rd of the year. Duran gets the save, throws 102 on the gun, is able to get out there. Carlos Santana has a little bit of a scary play there. We'll see what the status is of his wrist. And if you talk about all the injuries that have piled up, I mean, losing a Gold Glove caliber first baseman, that would be a problem.
And if he doesn't play, your Royce at second base is cleared up. Or second base, because Miranda now goes to first base.
Yep.
Right? And so Royce will just be at third base. So, like, you don't have a problem there now. So, but, and I hope he's fine, because he's been fabulous, but it didn't look good there. Now at the very end, when they were celebrating, like, and I think that they were waiting for the umpire to declare the game done because of that close play. Rocco was out there, and it looked like Santana was okay, but before that, to your point, he was definitely, like, in some pain. Yeah. And with the way the Twins roll, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play at least tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, well, wouldn't shock me at all. Hit the like button, subscribe button. This is the Score North Twin Show. Leave us an extra comment. Are you for or against replay in baseball? Would love to hear from all the Twins fans here on the Score North Twin Show YouTube feed. And on the podcast side, give us a 5-star review as well. So 3 games in Kansas City starting tomorrow, Judd. Zebby Matthews in Game 1, Bailey Ober Game 2, Sim gets Game 3. Also, just programming note, national TV on Saturday it's a Fox game.
Yeah, tomorrow night pisses me off.
Friday's an Apple TV Plus game.
I don't get Apple TV.
So no Bally Sports for Friday or Saturday's portion of these games.
Which is too bad, because I like Provis.
The Twins have played the Royals very, very well. I believe 5-2. No, they were 5-2 going into the last series. I believe 7-3 against them. This is just 3 games left. I think they've played them 10 times. So they hold the tiebreaker over them, which is huge. But obviously, you need a series. You need a series win just to keep pace and keep up and stay above the Royals. And then a series sweep for a team that's very vulnerable right now is also very big to kind of distance themselves and lock the Royals, that is, to maybe that last wild card spot, and the Twins can be the second wild card spot, maybe even get the first wild card spot. I don't think that'll happen, though, with what's happening in the AL East. But a pivotal series coming up for the Twins at Kansas City.
Game 1 intrigues me a lot because, as you said, it's the Zebmeister against Cole Reagans, who's really good, but as you told me, and you're right, like a month ago, the Twins have had really good success against good pitchers.
Yep.
So this one is going to be intriguing, and this is fun because now, to your point, you've got the 3 at KC now, and then you've got one series left against Cleveland, correct? At Cleveland on, it looks like September 16th through the 19th. So this should be very intriguing. Do you think it's too much to ask in KC of taking 2 of 3? What's your thought on that? KC has not played well of late. I think they did win again yesterday, but I believe that broke a 6 or 7 game skid. So do you think it's too much to ask to win 2 of 3?
I don't think it's too much to ask, no. KC's also is this weirdly home field advantage team. I don't know. I mean, I love to poke fun at the wind tunnel stuff at Progressive Field, but I don't know what's in the water in Kansas City because the home and road splits for those teams
the whip splits are stupid.
Yeah. Bobby Witt on the road is still like an above average hitter, but he is Barry Bonds in his prime at Kauffman Stadium, which is strange. Yeah, I think 2 of 3 is obtainable. Well, hopefully also by the time the Twins return home on Monday against the Angels, maybe get an update on Byron Buxton for those that missed our scoop session or missed our talk with Royce on the Score North side of things, main Score North channel of things. Buck left yesterday's game with more hip discomfort. From what I gathered, it sounds like he hurt that hip or felt the discomfort in the swing that then led to the exchange and the timing and the ejection with the umpire. I'm going to assume here that Buck just got completely frustrated and eventually took himself out of that game manually, which I do not blame him for.
Right.
But Buck will be reevaluated. A big blow. The Twins, will be back at home for a week starting on Monday, but then they're on the road for their final road trip in the season. 4 in Cleveland, 3 in Boston. Like, Boston's hanging on for dear life in the playoffs. You got 4 against Cleveland. I mean, that's the division right there. Mm-hmm. If the Twins sweep Cleveland, which I don't expect them to, then the division's back in play. But anything basically less of that is going to be still very hard for them, and the Twins might be without one of their best players. And we still don't know anything about Carlos Correa. No idea.
Correct. And it's fun because starting with the series at Kauffman tomorrow, and then to your point, going to Cleveland starting on September 16th, which is a Monday night game. There's the homestand that you just referenced, sandwiched in between, which is 6 winnable games. Yeah. The Angels are a dumpster fire. The Angels are checked out, right? Yep. And the Reds aren't a dumpster fire. They're sort of up and down, though. But the Reds at home, you should make hay there. Like at this time of year, you should make some serious progress there. So it's like there's 7 key games coming up in the next couple of weeks against division foes, all on the road. But then within that, there's 6 home games that are gettable against an AL West team and a National League Central team. But that could position you really well, Declan, going into the Cleveland. Like, if you can get 2 or 3 in KC, let's say you win 5 of 6 against the Angels and Reds, or 4 of 6. But I'm just saying, let's say you're successful there. Then to what you're saying, if you go into Cleveland with momentum, and it's been weird because the Twins have played, it makes no sense. The Twins have played the Royals great, and yet Cleveland has basically beat up on the Twins aside from the double header sweep a couple of weeks ago. But the point is, you do have 6 games there at home to really position yourself really well for the road trip, which is 4 at Cleveland and then 4 at Boston. And then you come home and get the woeful Marlins for 3 and then close against Baltimore, which could be playing, probably will be playing for the American League East, which will be as much fun as you can possibly have. So this is going to be really, really intriguing. And you got the best point. We don't know who's playing.
Yeah, no idea. The Guards, in the meantime, they're off today. That's Thursday, September 5th. They are 3 in LA. So they got 3 against the Dodgers in LA this weekend coming up. They do get the lowly White Sox for 3 on the road. So maybe those just even out those 6 games. You go 3-3 or maybe 4-3. But then 4 against Tampa, 4 against the Twins. They will close with St. Louis, Cincy, Houston in that order. Cleveland does. So, yeah, it's still a lot. If the Twins can be 2 games or less back of the Guards going into that 4-game series,
right,
I'll feel pretty good.
Well, and they do have to, just for the sake of their own playoff sanity, they just have to play far superior baseball than what they have of late. Not to contend for the division, but God forbid, like a Boston or a Detroit or Seattle gets hot. Like, that's the gift has been this. You played awful baseball for a long period, a long stretch, and essentially everybody around you did the same exact thing. Like Detroit got hot, that's fine, but Detroit was way back. But, Boston, if Boston had played halfway decent baseball, the Twins right now would probably be on the outside of the wild card looking in. So it's really intriguing. But yeah, I would like to see them just, if nothing else, put together, consistent good games. Because I think that in my opinion, the thread, Declan, of the cold streak was not just that you lost, it's eye test how you lost. So can they put together, like now, an extended stretch of really competitive baseball where they don't screw the pooch on the base paths or in the field?
Hit the like button, subscribe button. This is Score North Twins Show Extra Innings. If you like Minnesota Twins content, well, this is the place for you. We will have plenty of content coming at you with this last stretch of baseball coming up. Twins trying to get back up top in the Central. They're going to be hopefully clinching a playoff spot in the next few weeks. So like this channel, give us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, however you're listening. We appreciate everyone listening, watching, supporting the Score North Twins Show. That's Judd Zolgad. I'm Declan Goff. This is Score North Extra Innings.
Bye.
We'll be talking at you guys soon.